And probably the most controversial one, members, I know, but I think it is one of the most frustrating pieces of our inability to sort of broadly reform our tax system to be consistent with the 21st century. Is the question of nexus for out-of-state online sellers. Our individual local community businesses who pay taxes in California, who pay property taxes in California, who employ California residents, are placed every day at a disadvantage by folks who are trying to avoid, basically, collecting taxes that are already owed by the consumer. We call it a use tax for sales that are made in California to Californians. And so what this bill does, members, is says there is a nexus when they hire California companies to promote their products, that creates a nexus. This will be controversial, but members, it's time we sent that signal. We need to be able to collect those use taxes.
Senator Hollingsworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. With all respect to the author, I have a slightly different opinion on this measure. Now, yesterday I can tell you that people that have a very definite interest in this measure told us about what happened in New York. And it's been said we should do like New York did with this measure. Well, a major internet retailer in New York had 1,400 affiliates local in New York, small businesses in New York providing hundreds of jobs that were affiliated with a major internet retailer. The day that New York passed this measure, that major internet retailer said, okay, New York affiliates, goodbye. 1,400 small businesses in New York, gone. Hundreds of jobs, gone. The tax revenue now that was collected because of this new measure, zero. Because they went and found affiliates outside the state of New York. That's what will happen if you pass this measure and it's signed into law. All those California-based affiliates that you're trying to go after in order to try and get that tax revenue, they'll be unemployed, out of business, out of work, no tax revenue.
Thank you, Mr. President. The other component of this conversation, which is missing so far, are all of the small businesses in our communities, in our neighborhoods, who can't compete with Amazon and others with such a business model. They want to do business in states that don't have sales taxes. They don't want to collect the taxes. Oh, remember, we have a sales and use tax. But consumers don't know about the use component. They don't proactively pay the state that money. It is our money. But your mom and pop bookstore can't compete because they've got to collect sales tax. So there's that aspect of this too.
I think California is big enough that we should not to submit to that kind of blackmail. And that's just pure what it is. It's blackmail by out-of-state companies who are telling us, if you don't allow us to put your existing companies who are in California paying property taxes, paying payroll taxes, collecting sales tax, if you do not allow us to pursue a business model that puts those companies at a disadvantage, then we are going to pull more jobs out of your state. That's just pure and simple blackmail, members. Californians should not submit to that. I understand the federal implications and I understand the legal issues here, but it's time for us to stand with New York and some other large states and say enough is enough. This one counts.